Hi, I'm Gavin,
And I'm Dave.
and you're on the fringe.
Come along with us for a ride on a podcast where we talk about an area or a thing going on in the world that needs more attention, just like you do. Let's go.
On the fringe. Here we go.
Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome back to On the Fringe. This is Dave. I'm here with Gavin, and
hmm
we're going to be kind of circling back here a little bit to the first episode that we did this season. We're going to be talking about Syria again. And when we published that first episode, Bashar al Assad had just been pushed out. A group called HTS, Hayat Tahrir al Sham, basically had taken over the government. And we're going to give you guys a quick situation update on what's actually going on over there right now.
Okay, so the new government under al-Shura has been officially inaugurated, and they're starting to, I guess, get to the work of rebuilding. But there are very serious concerns about basically, there are a couple of things. First of all, there are command and control concerns over paramilitary groups, and there are very serious concerns for religious and ethnic minorities in the country, um, which the government under HTS seems kind of unwilling or unable to deal with. A little bit like things the Taliban may have been doing in, say, late 2021, early 2022, where, people were mysteriously going missing, neighborhoods were getting cleared out, but they were sort of throwing their hands up and going, we don't know about any of this. Um, Dave, can you just, remind people about who HTS are again?
So, HTS is a terrorist group, and they basically are taking a lot of the same plays that were used by ISIS back in, say, late 2000s, like 2012, 2013. I guess that's a little bit after that, to basically create their first state. And they're trying to build, I would say, a state within Syria. They're trying to stabilize the country and develop infrastructure. They're running around now in suits, trying to get deals from different countries. But at the same time, these guys are still terrorists at the root of it. And they're trying, in my opinion, to create a terrorist state in the middle of the Middle East. And ultimately, the country is not stable, and it's going to be unstable probably for the foreseeable future.
And that's manifesting in a couple of ways. Recently, a report came out. I think I forget exactly who broke it, but the article I'm looking at from Reuters is I think about a month ago, there was a series of, I think they're still ongoing, a series of massacres against the Alawite community along the Syrian coast. The Alawite community, of course, was associated with Bashar al-Assad. His family was an Alawite family. They were targeted after the revolution. Um, we think there are a couple thousand dead out of that. They went after civilians. It was in some regions pretty indiscriminate. Uh, there are now very solid reports of armed groups evicting Alawite people from their homes at gunpoint. This is not an isolated thing. This is basically happening across the country. Something that completely meets the standard of ethnic cleansing. So there's widespread massacres, there's ethnic cleansing. There's a lot of the Taliban-esque playbook of, oh, well, we can't control people. We don't know who's doing this. And reports suggest that most of these people might not be working for the current government, but they're certainly affiliated with a group that was partnering with the group that's now running the country. So these are people who are
Mhm.
affiliated to the current administration. Where this gets sparky and troublesome is that now it seems like there's a similar problem happening in the South with the Druze community. The Druze community is a religious minority. Um, Depending on who you ask, it's a sect of Islam or a separate religion. It's in the far south of Syria, northern Israel, the Golan Heights, and parts of Lebanon as well. Um, the Druze have been fighting back, and the Druze had sort of armed paramilitaries during the Civil War, which of course went on for a very long time. They're defending themselves, but they're not very happy about this development. Again, it seems that there are armed paramilitaries. In this case, they seem to be coming directly from Damascus. Um, what's really seems to be more of an issue with this is the Israelis are now involved. The Israelis are already occupying a chunk of southern Syria, and it seems like they might be on the cusp of declaring some kind of protectorate over the Druze community if the attacks continue. And they basically said as much. So
Mhm.
this
And
is,
in this last week, so the Israelis conducted a drone strike on a group attacking or getting ready to attack the Druze in Sahanya, and
mm,
basically the Israelis wiped them out, and Israelis are looking to have, my opinion, a buffer between them and Hezbollah.
I mean, well, I think the Israelis are looking to have a buffer between them and everyone. I mean, to be quite frank, that's kind of the dream. Um, and I think it is a dream. I don't think it's realistic at all, but they're going to try. And in the Druze, they may have found the community they're looking for, not because the Druze in Syria have any affection for the Israeli state. They made it very clear they don't. Um, but they're kind of in an impossible situation. And if it seems like these attacks or these incidents, which started with a supposed case of blasphemy coming from someone in the Druze community, which was totally, there was no basis for it. And it seemed like a deliberate provocation that someone had introduced basically to create a pretext to attack this community. If that kind of thing continues, if there are continued attacks uh, coming from elsewhere inside Syria, I think you're going to see more of a concerted Israeli effort, if there isn't one already, to create some kind of autonomous region or just a series of militias they can ally with. Because again,
Mhm.
as you said, they're not looking to protect religious minorities in the Middle East. They're looking for a buffer zone. And
Yeah,
again,
they're.
they may have found one.
Mhm. And
So
then,
we'll see.
yes, I was gonna say one more thing that I want to add in there is there are
Mhm.
militant groups in Syria now that are basically calling for jihad against Russia and Iran, and you have a
China,
terrorist
China too.
in China as well. Yes, can't forget the Uyghur separatists, but you have a Tajik terrorist who has become a member of Syria's Ministry of Defense. So
Hmm.
this is a way now for Syria's government to say we can use some of these terrorist slash paramilitary groups to go out there and kind of do our bidding and to stir up the pot and destabilize some of these countries and keep everybody on their toes.
I think a little bit of what's going on right now is sort of herding cats. I mean, al-Shara has an almost impossible task. Not that I'm sympathetic to him, but he does. He has to take all of these different groups that all have basically different agendas and different goals in mind and get them to do what he wants them to do. Now, I think a lot of the issues you're seeing right now, possibly in the coastal region of Syria and probably in the southern region of Syria as well, is that he is using these paramilitaries as cat's paws for the moment in order to distract them from the in Islamist militant circles who would call it the outside enemy versus the inside enemy. Right now, the Alawites and the Druze, unfortunately, fall into the inside enemy. The outside enemy would be Russia, would be the Tajik government, I'm assuming,
Hmm.
would be Iran, definitely Iran. Um, but I think, correctly judges that while he probably has no sympathy whatsoever for those countries, uh, getting anyone from Syria directly involved in attacking them right now wouldn't just be disadvantageous, it would probably be fatal to the regime. Um, so he's trying to use them to attack the inside enemy, which also allows him to distance his government from these basically massacres. Uh, he's juggling. He's got a lot of pieces, moving parts, moving pieces, and he's juggling, and he's trying to use these guys in a specific way. But I think you're right. I think you can't keep those people in check for long, and eventually something big is going to come off, and Mr. Shiraz is going to have a real problem.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, this does nothing to stabilize the Middle East, and this kind of goes back to what I was thinking earlier and what I was saying earlier, is that these guys are just terrorist groups running around in suits trying to get money, and there's very low, I would say a very low chance that they're going to be able to build a single cohesive state where Syria stands right now.
I think, unfortunately, they would disagree with you. And where they would disagree with you is once they've gotten rid of all the people they don't like,
Hmm.
they're going to find it a lot easier. And that's what they're going to start trying to do. And that's what they're doing now. They're getting rid of the people that aren't going to fit in, either directly or indirectly. And then they're going to start building that state. But they have an issue, which is if you're trying to build a more radical Sunni state in Syria, Arab state, Sunni Arab state in Syria, you do have to deal with the fact that a lot of people in Syria just don't fall into that category and didn't sign up to live in that kind of state. Um, so what do you do? And I think the solution that they have hit on is, well, we're going to wait and then we're going to get rid of them. And in some cases, they're not waiting.
Mm.
But yeah, it's pretty grim. It's pretty grim, and the Syrian people have been through so much, and they continue to go through so much, and I think a lot of people were hoping for the best in terms of stability, but the form of stability that you have is not really going to last, I think, in
No.
a fairly profound way.
Well, it's just which direction is the barrel of the gun pointed to?
Yeah, that's unfortunately, I think that's it. I think you just hit the nail on the head. It's the directionality of the barrel has changed, but not a lot else.
Mhm.
Uh, on that pretty somber note, you want to shout us out?
Yeah. So thank you guys very much for listening. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe if you have not done so. Tell all your friends. tell all your enemies, and join us on the next episode. Thank you all and take care.